Hello out there, all you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear listening into a dual combined with Rock for Xbox and Pitch for a Switch discussion. And this one is going to be about Dreamcast. Now, I'm pretty sure somebody already expected me to go ahead and say, hey, Nintendo should get Dreamcast for Nintendo Switch Online service. Which you would be correct to have thought that. But also, since Microsoft and Sega have recently pretty much announced a big partnership with each other, it would just make sense that Sega would say, hey, let's go back and take all of those old Sega Dreamcast games that nobody really knows much about because a lot of people dogged on the system before they actually played it. And on top of that, we didn't really have such a great working relationship with many of the retailers thanks to what we did with the Sega Saturn. Why not go back and go ahead and take that Sega Dreamcast, which was easy to emulate the games from and easy to copy the games from, and just go ahead and work with both Microsoft, who, again, we have a huge partnership with, and Nintendo, who we've been working very well with over the years. And on top of that, we got Sega Genesis on Nintendo Switch Online anyway. Let's take the Dreamcast games and go ahead and put them on both of these platforms. It only benefits us in the long term. For Microsoft, you can go ahead and put all the games individually out there so people can purchase them as they want, or even just make them a Game Pass exclusive. I know somebody's going to hate me for saying that, but even just make them a Game Pass exclusive thing. Which I wouldn't expect Microsoft to not be willing to do, though I don't think they would do it. I think that they would leave the option to have both on there where you could purchase the game individually and then just have it as part of the Game Pass service. But if Sega decided that they wanted to do it that way, I don't think Microsoft would have too much of a problem with it because, again, it just benefits them in the long run. And we already know that Nintendo would, if they're going to have it on NSO, the games are not going to be individually purchased. Simple as that. And that would mean that older stuff that isn't already on every other platform would be able to be on Nintendo Switch, like Shenmue 1 and 2, because 2 did come out on the Dreamcast. I think a lot of people don't know that. 2 did come out on the Dreamcast. I think it was just in Japan and Europe, but it never came to the US. But it did come out on the Dreamcast, as well as on the OG Xbox. So, that said, the service may have a little bit more expansive list of games for NSO, because there are counterparts already for some of those games on Xbox. You just don't see them on Nintendo. So, that will work itself out. But I could see games like House of the Dead 2 and 2, was 3 on the Dreamcast? I don't remember if 3 ever made it to Dreamcast. I know 2 was. Then there was Typing of the Dead, which was another version of House of the Dead 2. Then you had Zombies Revenge, which it's criminally underrated. That game has not been to very many platforms. Then on top of that, you got stuff like Dynamite Cop that didn't see itself get anywhere else. Should have. Then there was the dungeon crawler version of Record of Lodoss War. There's just a lot of games. You had Elemental Gimmick Gear. You had Carrier. There's just no reason to not go ahead and say, hey, let's work with Sega and the different teams that had games on the Dreamcast and bring those games to both the Xbox as part of a Dreamcast specialty and NSO Online. NSO Online, wow. NSO expansion pack. Because the O is online. I don't know what Nintendo Switch Online. Yeah, that sounded dumb. But still, I just think that it makes a lot of sense. And, I mean, Sega doesn't really have a specific special relationship with Sony. It was kind of like, okay, we're just putting some of our games here. And they did do well with Sony, but Sony, again, doesn't really have a specifically special relationship with Sega. That's the only reason I'm leaving them out of this. But, going on anyway, Microsoft and Nintendo got their relationship with Sega that Sony does not have. So this is simply it, which is the whole reason for the suggestion. Plus, I think that if they did do that, that would actually make a lot of the suggestions I have made before for other games actually fit. But there's just so much stuff that's in the Sega Dreamcast library that just never made it anywhere else. So, like, if there are people that are fans of, like, Ikaruga, you would love Mars Matrix. It's practically the same game, just made by Capcom. And not Traveler's Tales. Was it Traveler's Tales? Yeah, Traveler's Tales. Again, was it them? Now I'm sitting here second guessing myself, but still. There's just a bunch of stuff on the platform that never saw its way anywhere else. And it is so unfortunate that a lot of people didn't get to experience these games. And opening up the Dreamcast to these platforms, as well as it's going to be on PC if it's on Xbox, it gives people a chance to get to see and play these games that they just otherwise wouldn't have. And since the world is more well connected with the internet currently, it's a bonus. And that also means that people don't have to go and illegally download the games. The companies can actually now make money off of them this way. Because honestly, one of the major reasons for pirating is that there is an opportunity for some stuff to be available. And at that point, I don't even consider it pirating. It's like recovering a lost treasure at that point. But we could have different opinions on that particular thing. But I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you guys very much for listening in. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games. Peace out.